Good morning, everybody. I'm getting ready to officially kick off my sugar diet experiment, Whole Foods edition, eating lots of fruit and such. I'm going to be talking more about exactly what my plan is later on in this video. So I did get a question on my last video saying, we don't even know what you're talking about. Can you please give details? And so I was going off of, everyone has been seeing this in their feed. So I kind of had in my mind that everyone kind of had the general idea of what the sugar diet was. But I will be going into more detail about that in a second, about exactly what I'm doing, because everyone kind of has their own little take on it. And so I will share mine. Before that, I want to go ahead and apply my CGM. So this is the Stello by Dexcom. This is the new CGM, and they even call it, no, they call it a glucose biosensor. They don't call it a CGM anymore, I think. I don't see CGM on here. Anyways, this is the one that is over the counter. You don't have to have a prescription. This is also the one that NutriSense has moved to. So I have worked with NutriSense off and on for the last couple of years, and they were on the Freestyle Libre first. That's the only other one that I had experience with before. And then I believe they moved to the Dexcom G7, and then now they have moved to the Stello, and the price is significantly cheaper with the Stello. And then they've also given me some sort of a discount code to share. So I'll have all that info down below. The great thing about NutriSense is it's not only just getting the CGMs or the biosensors, they also offer coaching, like with nutritionists. You can have video calls and kind of go over it, because I know for a lot of people, they just don't know where to start. It's a lot of information to kind of have in your head before you can actually make sense of the data. So that's one thing that they offer, just giving you kind of a walkthrough with it and helping you along. And now with the plans that they have, you can just get the CGMs without the nutritionist, and then you can add on. So if you're like going through and you think you can do it all on your own, and then you get kind of confused, you could just go ahead and order a session with one of their nutritionists. You don't have to just buy everything up front. You can kind of just, I think I really need some help with this, and then you get a session. So there are definitely some positives about moving to the Stello from the Freestyle Libre that I've done before. The main one is that I don't have to remember to scan my CGM every 8 hours. I think it was 8 hours. Before, it was like if I slept 9 hours a night, I would lose an hour of data, because it only stored 8 hours at a time. This one is Bluetooth, and so you don't have to worry about that. I have noticed there's some gaps in the data, and I'm not sure what that's about. It's supposed to be able to store 24 hours of data, and so if you lose Bluetooth connection, then next time you connect up, it'll get all of the data. But I do notice that there's some missing here and there, so that was kind of interesting. And there's been some criticism about the Stello, but honestly, I see criticism about all different kinds of CGMs. And like I said, I only have experience with the other Freestyle Libre, and so I didn't find it any less accurate or any, weirdness with it. You always have to know that with a continuous glucose monitor or biosensor, sometimes they'll run a little bit high, sometimes they'll run a little bit low. So it's a good idea to test with a finger prick, just to make sure you're kind of in the same ballpark. It used to be with the Freestyle Libre, you could adjust in your app and say, I checked with a finger prick, and actually it's running 10 points high, so you lower it down. With the Stello, I did not see that option, so that's another thing that has changed. I don't love that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this put on here. It's quite painless. It's a little intimidating at first, but it becomes second nature really, really fast. So I'm going to use an alcohol swab on my arm, just under here. And then it all comes in one piece. With the Freestyle Libre, there were two pieces, and you had to open up and stick them together. But the Stello just comes in one piece. So we're going to open it up here. That's what it looks like. So there's a needle there, but that needle actually doesn't stay in your arm. It's just used to insert the little sensor that's flexible. And so, yeah, I know it looks intimidating, but there's this little button on here, and I think that's dry. You just press it on where you want it, like that, and then you press, wait, did I not do it right? Press the button. Nope, what did I do wrong? Okay, let me try this again. You have to press it until the clear thing is pushed in. No, that's not working. There it went. I did this just 2 weeks ago and it worked just fine. I don't know why I was having so much trouble. Okay, so that is in. They give you this over patch to put on it that still shows the CGM. And so you kind of put it like that and rub it around to make sure everything is attached well. And then you take off this green piece. And then I have some over patches that I purchased off of Amazon because I kind of just wanted it to be more incognito. And so I got one kind of the color of my skin. So I'm just going to apply that over as well. Okay, so that is all there is to it. Now I'm going to get it all connected with the app, and it takes about 24 hours to have the readings kind of regulate. So the first 24 hours, you can get some information, but you take it with a grain of salt. And so I'll probably start showing my food and tracking kind of day by day after this first 24 hours. All right, now to chat about exactly what I am going to be doing on my own personal sugar diet. So I don't even know the exact, and if there's a place where I can find like written down the exact rules of the official sugar diet from Cole Robinson, I would love to see that. I know I went over to his website and I found info about what I believe he's calling sugar fasting. And that was like sugar water plus electrolytes all day or something like that, which is not what I'm doing. But I feel like there's a difference between a sugar diet and a sugar fast. And the sugar diet has the fruit and sugar for the first part of the day, and then protein and fat with starch, or no, not fat, protein and starch. I'm used to protein and fat, just going like that. No, protein and starch in the evening. And that's the sugar diet. Anyways, so there's variations. It'd be great if Cole put together like a PDF of all of the rules, because, it's always nice to have like an official thing to refer back to, especially when you're making tweaks here and there and talking about it. So I like to be clear. I don't want to say I'm doing the sugar diet when it's not exactly what is officially the sugar diet. But I am basing what I'm doing on that kind of a layout of a day. I'm also basing it on, so I first heard about this from Mark Bell, and he talked about the lean protein. He talked about keeping his protein around 100 grams and doing starch and protein at dinner. And so what I'm doing is, primarily based around that. That kind of struck a chord with me, and I was like, that kind of sounds doable. If I had just heard the sugar, water, and electrolytes all day sugar fast, I'd been like, no. But having the protein in the evening, that sounds doable. And so I'm kind of basing it on that. So I'm wanting to stick to whole foods, trying to do primarily fruit, although I'm finding that it's going to be a challenge to continually have all of that fresh fruit in the house. So I did pick up several bags of frozen fruit from Costco. And then also I ordered some canned fruit from Azure Standard that will be coming in the next week or so. The canned fruit has fruit juice in it. It's like canned in fruit juice. So it's not completely whole fruit. So there is a little bit of fruit juice in there like that. I'm not planning on drinking a lot of fruit juice at this point. I'm not against it. I actually have had my mind changed about fruit juice, or maybe I should say I'm open to having my mind changed about fruit juice. I've been listening to a lot of really smart people, and fruit juice kind of has been demonized a little bit more than maybe it should. And I'm actually going to do a video probably after this where I talk about all of the influences that have brought me to this point of even being willing to try something like this. Because I know it does seem like it's like night and day, like a 180 degree change. If you just were watching me back when I was making keto bread, and then now all of a sudden I'm talking about eating lots and lots of carbohydrates. That might seem like a big change, but really it's been a year and a half that I have been listening to some different voices and increasing my carbs over the last year and a half to where I had already increased them to around 200 grams per day. So it's not as huge of a change as going from carnivore to 500 grams of carbs in a day. So all that to say, I may include some juice here and there, but I'm going to try at first just to stick with more whole foods, and I am including honey and maple syrup in that list of whole foods. So for example, this morning, before my workout, I had 2 bananas, and then after my workout, a little while later, I had a bowl of cherries, frozen cherries that I defrosted, and then I chopped up more banana on top of it, and then I drizzled all of that with honey. So that kind of gives you an idea of what I'm thinking of as a whole food sugar breakfast. So I'm planning on eating like that for the first part of the day. Like I said in my last video, I'm not forcing anything. I'm not white knuckling anything. So if I get hungry, I will eat. If I get hungry and the only thing that sounds good is some starch or some protein, I will eat that a little bit earlier in the day. But I'm going to do my best to try to just do fruit throughout the day. Fruit till 4, and this is based on all kinds of people's plans and ideas, not just Cole's. I know that Durian Ryder has done like the raw till 4 and Freely the Banana Girl, and also Lean on Carbs here on YouTube. She talks about doing more fruits in the morning and starches in the evening. So it's not a new thing. It's definitely, there's definitely other people talking about it. It's been around for a long time. So I'm kind of basing what I'm doing on all of those things. So fruit and whole sugars in the morning up until around 4, although I'm not going to be watching the clock. And then after 4, I will have either 1 or 2 meals that have some protein, like, 4 ounces of chicken, 4 ounces of lean steak. One thing that I've been loving is when I go into town, there at the store, they have poke bowls. And so it has sushi rice, and then it has like raw tuna or salmon, and then you can put mango on top. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And so getting some of those omega-3s that are essential, but it's also very low fat, very high carb. So that's one way that I'm meeting my nutrient needs. I'll talk about nutrients too in a minute. So I'm going to try to keep my protein between 80 and 100 grams per day. I was thinking shooting for 100 grams per day, but I think 80 to 100 is good. Again, this isn't going to be a lifestyle that I will do nonstop forever. I will have days here and there where I do something different, where I eat a little higher fat, a little higher protein. This is just an experiment. And then in the evening, if I need more food, I will continue to eat fruit, as a dessert to the meal or whatever. As far as meals, I have always been the kind of person that feels better eating 4 to 5 times a day, which really did not mesh well with the keto and carnivore diet. Even on the keto and carnivore diet, I didn't get that, I'm full the entire day type thing like some people, or I could just wake up and make it till 2 p.m. without getting hungry. I've always been hungry in the morning, and I just feel better if I eat 4 or 5 times throughout the day. So I am doing that here. I'm not trying to just stick to 3 meals a day. I always work out in the morning, or I usually work out in the morning, and at 6 a.m. So I do have a small snack in the morning. Like I had 2 bananas this morning before my workout, and then I have my workout, and a little while later I start getting pretty hungry, and that's when I have my breakfast, I guess we'll call it. And then, I'll have lunch around noonish or so, and then I'll usually want to eat maybe around 3 or 4, and then another time in the evening somewhere. So my last 2 meals is what I'm thinking that I will be okay including starch and okay including protein, because I really would rather not have the whole 80 to 100 grams of protein in just one meal. Separating it by a couple of hours would be nice, I think. I also am allowing vegetables just all day if I feel like having them in the morning, which is kind of hard to just eat plain vegetables. It's a lot easier to eat plain fruit, I'm finding, but I do enjoy having vegetables with my protein and starch meals, and that kind of bulks them up a little bit. So I'm having vegetables, I can just have those anytime. With dinner, it's also really nice to be able to have different sauces like barbecue sauce or teriyaki sauce or things like that. Things that I wouldn't have eaten on keto because they are high sugar, but on this diet, they add so much flavor. And it's just eating, people talk about eating low-fat carbs as being just so unpleasant sounding. Like, yeah, just eating a dry potato with nothing on it sounds terrible. But but if you're eating a bowl of rice with some lean chicken and teriyaki sauce and some, like, I don't know, stir-fried cabbage on top, that's delicious. And it is very, very filling. And I have no problem enjoying that at all. So that's the kind of thing I'm doing. So sauces are totally fine. I'm trying to, keep the fat low. And then I'm trying to have them not be completely junky. So I'm looking at the ingredients and just trying to pick the best options that I can find. One last thing that I am allowing myself, because again, I've said I'm not forcing myself to do anything, is I am allowing myself coffee. And I am allowing myself 1 tablespoon of half and half in my coffee when I want it. Some days I will want 1 cup at some point. Some days I've wanted 2. I have found that I don't want it as much when I first get up in the morning. I had been just waking up and going and making coffee first thing in the morning. That was my ritual. And last few days since I've started this, I've been like, that doesn't sound great. And so I will skip that in the morning. And then usually by around 10 a.m., I'm like, oh yeah, some coffee sounds good. So I'll go ahead and have just 1 cup of coffee with that tablespoon of half and half. And that's been fine. That still adds very little fat. Now to talk about nutrients. I know that is a really big concern, and it does make me nervous with, the emphasis being put on just, white sugar. There's not nutrients in that. We know that. And I understand, you don't have to worry about it if you do this every once in a while. If you fast, you're not getting any nutrients for a day, but people aren't too concerned about fasting for a day and losing all of your nutrients. But as a long-term thing, I want to make sure that my nutrient stores stay topped up. I have had nutrient deficiencies in the past, and they really do cause a lot of problems. And so I really want to make sure I've gotten them all topped up, and I want to make sure that I don't lose them. So I've actually switched over to Chronometer for tracking my food and my calories. And one little thing I'll mention, it is so easy to track macros and calories on this diet because, it's like 2 bananas, a cup of cherries. It's just super easy. There's not lots of recipes. So that's been nice. So I am going to be keeping track. I'm going to probably do a few days where I just eat the way I have been eating the last few days and kind of see where my nutrients are landing. And then I will think through what I could tweak and change if I am low on anything. But I kind of am not really sure how it's going to turn out because I'm eating tons of fruit. I'm still eating some meat. So anyways, it'll be interesting. I will share that with you guys, of course. Then I'll throw this in here real quick about social meals. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not white knuckling anything. So I am not going to bring a bowl of fruit salad to Thanksgiving dinner and only eat that. That's not the life I want to live. And so if there are social meals, I will partake in it however I feel at the moment. I will say this past Sunday we had a get together. It was kind of a potluck thing. I made red beans and rice, and it was with andouille sausage and bacon in there too. And so it was not a low fat thing, although between the beans and the rice, it was still fairly high carb. So I had that. I even had a little bit of sour cream on top. And what I found was that social meal was so much easier to manage than when I was having social meals on keto. Because I also, when I was on keto, I would have social meals and allow myself to have other things that weren't on keto because I do value that social eating experience. And I would find that I'd eat some, and then it's like all I could think about was all the food that, and I need to go back and get more. I need to go back and get more. And with this, I ate my meal and I did not think about food at all. It was, the food noise was very low. And in the end, I went in and kind of guessed my macros for the day, and they were still pretty close to what I had been hitting. And it was just a little bit higher in fat. The protein wasn't any higher than I had been. And so I was like, wow, that was that was so easy. That's been one of the things about this that has been shocking to me about how easy it is and how satisfied I am. I thought not having protein for the first half of the day, I would just be craving protein. I am not. I am not at all, which is wild. I will throw in here that another reason why I was okay with going ahead and trying this experiment out is that I have been, I mean, you could call it bulking if you want to talk in bodybuilding terms, for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. And not that I've gained a whole bunch of weight, but I have been doing very heavy weight lifting, and I have definitely built muscle. I have high muscle for a woman. I always have. That's kind of been my body type. And so I know I have a lot of muscle. I also have a lot of fat covering that muscle. So I am not under muscled by any means. I definitely don't want to lose muscle. I'm going to do my best to not. I weight lift 3 to 5 times a week. I do cardio 3 to 5 times a week, and it is primarily zone 2 cardio with maybe 2 times a week of some kind of a high intensity interval training thrown in there. So I feel like it's really balanced. I also do, yoga and stretching, mobility stuff. So I feel like it's really balanced. I feel like I have a really good baseline as far as my fitness level and my muscle amount. And, I wouldn't want to jump into this if I were under muscled. I don't know. There's all different ways you could, use this tool. So I just feel pretty confident where I am at with my body and my muscle level. And I'm just interested to see what's going to happen. I don't know if you can hear that. A chicken just got really excited. So that is my plan. As soon as my CGM gets all warmed up, I will start tracking my meals and filming them and showing you all of that. I'm going to try to show you like my nutrients for the day to make sure I'm not getting deficient in anything, and show you my blood sugar through the day. That will be fascinating. So stick around. I will be back with more videos. Thanks for watching.